the Cowboys beat the Buccaneers 26-24, and a very costly loss for the Tampa football team. Baker Mayfield, the Buccaneers, who had control of their playoff fate, but no more! Oh, my God. Now they're like all the rest of us. They don't control their own destiny. So the Buccaneers lose. A 3-year playoff run for the Cowboys also exterminated. Even before the Dallas Cowboys took the field, they're 7-8 now with this win, but they were eliminated from postseason consideration thanks to the Philadelphia Eagles choking against the Washington football team. Tremendous job by the Eagles there. That was my pick of the week. I always love when the quarterback on your – not that I'm a huge Jalen Hurts fan, but Kenny Pickett, more on that later. He sucks. And Jalen Hurts got hurt at the end of the first quarter. And, anyway, more on that later. But we're focusing in on the Sunday night game. Now, you know the mantra. Been doing this a long time. The mantra is the better story is in the losing locker room. So that is where we go. And that is the Tampa Bay side of things. So who gets the largest chunk of the bloomin' onion of blame? The Bucks bloomin' onion of blame here. See the bloomin' onion supposedly invented by the Outback Steakhouse, which is headquartered in Tampa. So thus, we're tying all this together. So I have keyboard, Forrest Gump, and bacteria. And we will combine. Where's the bell, Mark? I need the bell, Mark. Where's the bell? I will combine all these things together, and we are going to make gabagool is what we're going to make. We're going to make some gabagool. All right, so Tampa, they were set up in this game for a hallmarked finish. Now, it's all set up. They say, oh, this is all scripted reality and all that stuff. I got buddies of mine that work in the business that say, scripted reality. So local boy, here's the headline. All right, here's the headline on the script. Local boy returns home, leads team to dramatic last-second field goal drive to win the game. Period, stop. Walks off victorious. So Baker Mayfield, a native son of Texas, right? And not that far away from Dallas. Texas, big state, but not that far away from Dallas. High school hero. Did go to Texas Tech before he ended up at Oklahoma. So he's got college roots there, high school roots, Baker Mayfield, and he was in position to lead Tampa, matriculate the ball down the field from a 9-point deficit, final 3 minutes, all the way back to win the game. He escaped the sack heroically, and it was set up. And then he shoveled the ball. He said, I'm going to shovel the ball, get some yards out of this play to Rachaad White, who then did the thing you can't do at the time you can't do it. He had other ideas. He said, I don't want that Hallmarks. I don't like Hallmark movies. What's wrong with you? You think I'm a loser? I watch Hallmark movies? No. So he sat at his keyboard, and he decided to rewrite the finish of the game. The Buccaneers' third-string running back, clearly not spending enough time in the weight room. He was able to, he allowed Deron Bland, good name, sounds like an assassin in a James Bond movie, Deron Bland. So Deron Bland ripped the ball out of the running back's hands before he hit the ground, and replay assist stepped right in, giving Dallas the possession of the football. Possession is 9/10 of victory at the Tampa 32-yard line, and that allowed the Cowboys to run the clock out. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Drive home safely on your way home. So there are others who can also enjoy a little chunk of the delicious Bucks bloomin' onion of blame. How about Tampa's defense? Now, statistically, they were fine, but they were spotty. They were playing uphill the entire night. Never had the lead. Bucks never had the lead in this game. And they were down by multiple scores for a good chunk of the game. Statistically, again, not bad. Tampa won the stat sheet, but they ended up losing the game. A lot of missed tackles. There were some short field situations because of mistakes. Turnover on downs here at midfield early in the game, which kind of set the tone in favor of the Cowboys here. So a massive plot twist, though. We cannot understate. And you know this because you obsessed with this because you have no life. I have a life, but you have no life. So technically, the Buccaneers are even with Atlanta atop the NFC South. That's a technicality. But if you look a little deeper, you'll realize that they are not, because there's 2 games to go, and they need help. They do not control their own destiny because they lost both games to their division rival, Atlanta. And so now you look at it, the Buccaneers at 8-7, technically tied with Atlanta, but they've got 2 games remaining, and they need help. They need because of the tiebreaker, the Creamsicles must win out. Now, they play Carolina and they play the Saints, so they should win those games. But anyway, after that, they need help. Jaden Daniels. Now, that's should be a game that Washington wins. But as we know from betting on these games, what should happen and what actually happened are different in different dimensions. And so that's what's up next for the Falcons and their rookie quarterback. They take on Jaden Daniels in Washington. And then after that, Bryce Young and Carolina at the end there. All right, so does this loss make you reassess, as we turn the page here, does this loss make you reassess the Baker Mayfield Buccaneers? And no. I would like to quote a member of the Fox Sports Radio Alumni Association, the late, great Dennis Green, who I worked with very briefly. He worked here for about a minute before he took a job doing television, and I don't blame him. But Dennis Green, they are who we thought they were, right? I mean, that's what the Buccaneers are. I'm not surprised. I thought they were going to play better than they did. I said that on the TV show, but they're a middling team. And it's a Forrest Gump special is what it is, Tampa Bay. You never know what you're going to get when they take the field. And I was able to hang out with our friend TJ Reeves, another member of the Fox Sports Radio Alumni Association, the Bucs sideline guy last week, and was hanging out with those guys from Tampa. And they were all fired up. And fire the cannons, as their iconic play-by-play guy likes to say. But every once in a while, those cannons get jammed. Those cannons get jammed. And you can't fire the cannons because the cannons won't fire. And when you look at the Venn diagram, and you are what your record says you are. I heard that when I was a kid. And so that means Tampa's right where they need to be. They're right in the middle, right? Tampa's in the middle, 8-7. Not bad, not good. Good enough to beat the top two teams in the NFC, the Eagles and the Lions. Not good enough to beat them. And the Chargers, a playoff team. And also good enough or bad enough to go out there and ride the vomit comet and lose to Carolina, Dallas, and the 49ers. Whee! Now, Todd Bowles has a solid but unspectacular and not a real sexy team in the Buccaneers. And speaking of Todd Bowles, I like Todd Bowles. He's not a very good coach, but I like when he talks to the media. He's got the gift for gab, and I enjoy his commentary. So here's Todd Bowles commenting on the situation the Buccaneers find themselves in. Let's go to the audio tape.
We lost. We fell back in the pack. We got to eat it. Can't spend too much time on it. We had our chances. We had our chances just like everybody else, but it's a long season. We got 2 more games to go. We got to take care of us and then let everything else take care of itself.
So it's that Yogi Berra. It's a long season. It's kind of getting late here. It's not that long anymore. Dude, 2 more weeks and you go to Cancun, have a nice vacation. Or my brother, who I just found, he didn't tell me this. I just found out my older brother's in Peru. I wonder if he's visiting Inca Terror's family in Peru, which is kind of far from here, Peru. But I'm sure he's having a fine time. Anyway, here's one more. How about Baker Mayfield? Now, the play that changed the outcome, because you assume Tampa would drive down, at least get in field goal range. How hard is it to not get in the field goal range, right? I mean, it's easy. Anyway, here is the Buccaneers quarterback, Baker Mayfield, on the thing that you can't do at the time you can't do it.
I mean, he had 2 hands on the ball. It's just obviously you got to be careful. Not to beat a dead horse, but it's only the same thing happened to me earlier in the game. I got it ripped out of my hands, both of my hands. They made some plays when it mattered, and that's it's all about the ball, and they did a good job taking it away.
Now, if you do beat a dead horse, is that animal cruelty? It's already dead. Does that count as animal cruelty if you've beaten a horse that's already died, but you didn't kill it? If you come across a horse that's dead, is that a crime? Probably is, right? It's like some kind of sick, macabre situation. Anyway. All right, last part of this, the outrage. Oh, what are we doing, you effing idiots? You won. You just got eliminated. What are you doing? Why are you winning? I hear this a lot from Dallas fans. The Raider fans are beside themselves because the Raiders won their game against Jacksonville, and they won Antonio Pierce, sent out to Prim, Nevada, and kicked over back to California and sent out of Nevada because the Raiders won that game. But let's focus in on the Cowboys, who were eliminated prior to the game. Should Cowboy fans be annoyed that Mike McCarthy's team is winning, or in this case they did win, after being eliminated from the playoff race. So I'm going to go first here, and I've got the bully pulpit, and the answer is no. Okay, I changed my position years ago. We've done this quite a bit over the years, talking about tanking. I grew up, and I was around early days of my radio career around the Clippers, who tanked for a decade and won nothing. They got every blue chip effing player you could possibly want from tanking, and they sucked. I can't stand tanking. I hate it. I can't tell you how much I loathe those that worship at the altar of tanking. It's horrible. Never, ever accept the tank. If you accept the tank, that's on you. You're going to sports fan hell if you accept the tank. Right? It's a loser's mentality, and we know that it happens. Right? We're aware. The Cleveland Browns were tanking. They haven't won anything. The Philadelphia 76ers in pro basketball were tanking. It was open season. They haven't won anything. They got Joel Embiid. The guy doesn't even want to play. Embiid doesn't even want to play. All right? So teams have done it quite a bit over the years, but my philosophy is simple. I learned this from my parents. This is how they taught me. So you get what you get, all right? You get what you get, and you don't get upset, all right? It's the effing draft. Who the hell cares, all right? Right? If you would prefer your team to lose, okay, and here's a lot, like I said, Raider fans, I don't know, Cowboy fans are a little upset. Raider fans are really upset. You are part of the problem, okay? You're part of the problem. Tell me you're a bad fan without telling me you're a bad fan, because that's what you're doing, okay? When you call radio shows and post your little comments on social media about tanking, okay? Guess what? Do not worry about the draft. Do not, okay? Most of the players picked are overhyped and complete and total failures, right? It's like a large pus-filled cyst. No, seriously. No, I mean, it's a pus-filled cyst. It's bacteria. It's an infection. The NFL draft and all these drafts. So for the Cowboy fan, instead of picking maybe 5th or 6th, you're going to pick 15th. Whoop-de-damn-do, right? It's not like Jerry Jones is going to get a good player whether they draft 5th or 15th. And the same thing for the Raiders. Listen, the Raiders, they could end up finagling this. Who knows? Supposedly Deion's kid wants to play in Vegas, and so maybe they'll end up getting him anyway. But don't worry about that, right? Because you tank, and then you end up like the Raiders, for example. You get Shedeur Sanders, and then he goes out there, and it's garbage, right? And you're like, well, why did we do that? But we tanked. We got him. Yeah, there's tremendous examples of that across the board.